Zendala. This is a beautiful Zendala black tile from Zentangle. And I had an idea for something I thought I would do today, and I haven't done it before, but I have an idea about it, so let me share what that is. This is a great little book. Mine is a little bit messy because I've used it as a, I write on it, whatever, of reticula and fragments. And it was put together at an event I didn't get to attend, but of certified Zentangle teachers, and they all contributed designs to go into this book. And I thought that I would talk about what reticula and fragments are. And that's what this page is comprised of. And so the short answer, the short story on that is that a reticula is a series in a grid format, such as this, where a grid has been drawn and then the same pattern's been drawn as a quote fragment inside that grid. And the result of doing that is that you do get this really nice repeating pattern that sometimes creates a new pattern. Here's a great example. 3 rows of squares of the same pattern turned slightly every other row results in this really cool circle shape coming as a meta pattern from that fragment in a reticula fashion. So I thought I would do some work with that with you today, and I wanted to try to do it on the black Zendala tile. I don't work on these as much, but I like them a lot. So, and right now I'm going to be using 2 different pens. This one is the Jelly Roll 10 Sakura pen. 10 is pretty big. It's a pretty thick pen, and this one is a Jelly Roll 08, also Sakura pen. So I'm going to be working with those 2. And the first thing that I want to do is draw a spiral in this so that I get some rows that I can work in. And because it's kind of a spiral, and I'm just not that exact, I kind of like things to be a little off, in fact, I'm just going to draw that freehand. And just try to keep an equal distance all the way around. So as I get around each round of this, I'm keeping my eye on the distance between here and here, here and here, right? Trying to keep those equidistant so that I can do as many rows as I want to. And then it just trails off right there where that becomes the last one. And so, let's just see about this. So where's my 08? What I thought I would do is first choose a fragment from the book. I mean, I can choose them from anywhere. Is there something on this cover that I like especially, or I want to try, or is there something inside that jumps out to me? And I did, as I was flipping through earlier, I did see some that I thought were pretty magnificent. One of the ones I really like that I think could be interesting in white pen on a black background is this one here. And so I think I'm going to give that one a shot. And because this is, I'm not going to have, it's a spiral, so that means that one's, portion of this reticula runs into the next portion of it. So it's not, each row is not discrete into itself. They have to blend, or they have to at least run into. So I'll just figure that out as I go. But first I'm going to draw my fragments, spaces in my reticula, basically create the reticula. So this one here is pretty narrow at the center, right? Because this reticula is going to have to be, well, you can see it because it's starting in the middle, it's smaller there. So, all right, so that's how many I'm going to do of the first pattern. And I'm going to do them, even though it's a triangle, I'm going to shape it to fit because you can see what happened here. So let me try one that's kind of a squared off version of it. So the way that they've drawn this is, first put a square in the middle. Whoopsie, I thought my pens were all ready to go. There we go. Put a square in the middle, and then draw a line from one corner of the square down to the base line. So from here, following that line on the square down. That's the first line to draw, that stroke. And the second one does the same thing. I turned it 45 degrees, and now I'm taking my pen and doing the same thing, drawing down straight from that line. And now I'm going to do that again here, and then I turn it one last time and go there. Okay. Now, this design, as it is in the book, looks like this. And I'm going to go ahead and do it, and I don't know if this is going to work in these spaces or not, because I'm not, usually I try to blend into the space I'm given, but I think in this case the design might be more important, so I'm going to try it this way and see what happens. There, yeah, that's cool. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the second block and do the same exact thing. And I'm going to keep doing it around these until I fill in all of these spaces that I've drawn. So let's see here. A square in the center. And then draw straight down there. Draw straight down there. Turn it. Draw straight down there to that line, and then turn it and go straight to that line. And then basically aura those lines. You see? There. Yeah, that's kind of cool looking. It's already interesting, isn't it? Alright, now I'll do the same thing here. And as with every Zentangle experience, I want to encourage you to really get centered, seat yourself firmly on your chair, bottom flat on the chair as best you can, and feet firmly on the ground. Rock yourself a little bit on your seat so you know you're right there, firmly centered, and breathe in, and breathe out. Feel the air filling up your diaphragm and your pause to look at your work. Admire how it's coming together. There we go. And I'm going down, I guess I should say, the right side of the square each time. It's obvious now because we're doing it, but I didn't mention that at the beginning, that it was the right side of the square, and or if you do the left side, then it's the left side every time, from a standpoint of doing this kind of a repeating pattern. But they say start with a new beginning and end with a different end, or something like that. And I can't get the words right, but there's a phrase that I wrote down one time in one of my Zentangle journals at an event, and it was, consider a new start and a new ending to anything. And of course, it's a metaphor also for what if you told your story with a new beginning or told your story with a new ending. And I've thought about that a lot over the years, about, storytelling and how we tell ourselves stories. And now I'm going to go back to the beginning and do the ones here. And I think I'll go this way because I'm not sure what the orientation of that one is going to be until I get to it, I guess. Anyway, I was thinking about that, beginnings and endings, so an alternate beginning or ending to your story. A lot of times with the white Jelly Roll pens, they're not as smooth as the black pens we use. The black Sakura pens are not Jelly Roll. They're totally different. And so these kinds of pens, while they look great on this black paper, they are like a gel ink. And so I do find that I have to sometimes roll over my lines more than once. And I also know that when I do that, I have this risk of getting kind of clumpy a little bit, so try to use see there, it's just a little clumpy, a little thick. It's all right. Just enjoy the variations and the strokes and how it comes out differently each time. This is really neat pattern, isn't it? It's real bold, and I kind of like it in this circular way. It's got this really jaunty kind of thing going on. I don't know. I might extend these lines, you know, so that they run into each other a little more. I don't know what that'll do. We'll have to see when we're done the whole thing, how we want to play with these spaces that each one is given. Like maybe this really was an opportunity to maybe this is just an opportunity to create kind of a new tangle, right? What if they run into each other and then overlap? What would that be like? Now, since the orientation of this one was this way, I'm going to turn this and do mine this way. You see, I was just having a little trouble understanding which way was up on this piece because it's such a funny shape. Now look at there. They kind of almost line up there. That's interesting. You know, it makes me wonder in another iteration of this, maybe I should try to make them line up. What would it look like? All right, so that's that design in a grid format. And right now, it doesn't look like much, but I do like the way it looks. It's got a real jaunty look to it. And now I think I'll do something that's got a little more chunkiness to it in the next iteration, which will surround this, right? Then it might look just really cool. In fact, I like this one a lot. I'm looking in this book, as I showed you before. I like these. Look at these. These are pretty. And these are really neat. I like how you do the design like this, but then it comes out having this cool, bigger pattern. Let me look and see if there's other ones I really like. And I am using a little bit thicker pen, so I'm trying to find ones that I can be sure to get distinctions on, you know. Which one? Maybe something like... I don't know, there's a lot of choices. I'm looking for ones that are already spiral, right? Some of them are already spiral. That's kind of neat. How about that? So I like here what they do is they provide you the fragment, the picture of the actual fragment, so you can see, oh, this is the way this is made. All right, here's the square in my reticula, and I'm going to go like this through the middle, and then, or in that line, and then do this way. So now I'm going to go back in here and draw my squares. Or they're not really squares, right? Because it's round. But draw my shapes here, all the way around. I'm trying to make them the same shape and size because I do want to see what sort of like we keep saying meta pattern, you know, what kind of pattern. And this has a little bubble in it. I'm just going to fix. I want to go at least once around. So I'll only be able to do a few tangles, but I do feel like going once around is kind of the point for this. Maybe not. I don't know. I might regret that, but okay. So going back to my square one, and the way this design is done is taking a white pen and starting at the top right corner. It's a very, what I call a shallow S curve. Right, you go one direction, and then in the middle you sort of turn the other direction. So it's a shallow S from point to point. And then it's a series of aura lines pretty close to that first one, all the way to the corner, like that. And then you turn the tile and draw straight lines from the other corner down to the first line you drew. Do you see there? Then I'm going to take this one and do the same thing. I'm going from the upper right corner to the lower left corner, and I'm going to do that. Oh, you know what's funny is this time I went to the right and then left, and this time I went to the left and then right, which might look cool or it might not. I meant to do it the same way, but my hand has such muscle memory around that S shape that I can hardly even draw it left to right, which is really interesting to me. I think I'm going to stick with right to left and let this one right here be the one anomaly, because I'll have a hard time remembering that I'm trying to do it differently. All right, my S is here. My straight lines are here. Now I will say with these jelly pens, you do kind of get a little bit variable consistency with regard to the flow of the paint. And this paper is absorbent. And so sometimes I'll take my pen and rub it between my hands like this, just to warm it up a little bit, get that ink flowing, because it feels like it gets paler and paler. And what it makes me think is happening is that the ink is stuck in the pen somewhere, and I'm just getting the water out, right? The liquid's coming out on the ball tip, but the ink is stuck in the barrel or something like that. So I like to warm it up, just get it moving, shake it a little bit side to side, always with the cap on. Never shake a pen without the cap on. And then we'll try it again. I'll look at it real quick and make sure I didn't make a big blob anywhere. Nope, looks okay. All right. And then I'm gonna, let's see if that helps any. Maybe, yeah, I think it kind of did. All right, let's keep going with those auras around that shape. And there we go. They're pretty shapes, aren't they? They're so simple, but so satisfying to make and then see in a row like that. I do have a tendency, you can see, to end the line just before the other line, and it makes these little dots. I'm not sure if you can see that, but my lines end with little dots. I kind of think it's cute. You know, the curviness here is ever so slight, but it makes a difference. Look at how you can see that curved line. It's really pretty. It just gives that impression of movement, or waves, you know, wave movement. Hope you're enjoying the silence, the quiet opportunity to just draw these lines in a pattern and let your mind wander a little bit. That's the space I like to get to when I'm tangling. It's that really calm mental space that I'm really focused for a period of time on the drawing of the pattern. And it allows my mind to wander and yet stay focused at a conscious level on this pattern. It's really nice. Oh, I love that. I think it's really pretty. I love the waviness of it. Fun times. Okay, now I'm going to do my next one a little bit more of an open design like this. Something less line heavy, right? A little less line heavy. Let's see what I can do. Because, you know, I can color in later, so I'm trying to think also if there's a design I could do where I could really fill in some white just for fun, right? I think I will go with one of these flowery designs. That's a pretty way to do it. So first let me draw my fragments. I like to do these fragments in just the ones I'm going to draw in next each time, because now that I've gone around twice, I realize that having them pre-drawn keeps me from doing too many or too few, right? I've already made that decision. So I can sort of just be quiet and focus, and that was really lovely just now, to be able to do those last 7 or 8 and know that I had them already drawn on there. That was nice. Okay, so now I have a design decision to make, because I'm going to get, if I do this next tangle here, then I'm going to have at least room for 1 more, and then 2 more, and then maybe a final one. So I'll have room for 3 more tangles. And so I think I'll go just a little further with the flower design, like that. And now I'm going to put the flowers in. I say flower design, you know, it could be anything you think it is. But to remind you, what I'm going for is this design here. And so the way it's drawn is from the center, these little petals are just put in, and those are the only lines, until then she's also drawn little V's in between them, those petals, and little lines in the petals. So they're petals that are drawn either from the corner in, or, which may be the case, or from the center out. And I think that now that I look at it again, it looks like they are drawn from the corner in. So let me try that. That's not normally how I do them, so, and I don't have the center drawn, and maybe that's not important, right? Maybe the center is not the, oh, you know what it is? Looky here. It's this, she's got, this is her fragment right here. Look, it's the middle of this flower to the middle of that flower to the middle of that flower right here. Does that make sense? It's not the flower, it's not the center. It's the middle of each flower, right? This is the petal for another petal over here and another one there. Am I making sense at all? Anyway, that isn't interesting. Let me draw it with a pen with color and see if maybe that'll show it better. She's got her fragment like that. And so what we're seeing as a meta pattern here is all these flowers hooking together because of the way she's positioned the petals on the outsides, right? This is like out here, out here. So anyway, I'm going on a little too far, but I'm going to try to do it now. Okay. Now I get it. Now I get it. So I'm not going to get that same meta pattern because I'm not going to have rows and rows of them, but I'm still going to do the drawing the way that she's suggesting it, because I like to learn. So I'm going from the outside in, I think is what I need to do, right? Yeah. So it's the out like that. And then there's a line down the middle. And then I'm going to turn it and go outside in. And a line down the middle. I mean, you could do any petal shape you like. There, that's what it is. All right, and then I'm going to do that over here. I'm going to go back at the end and do those little triangles, because I find if I stick with the petals, I get a much better muscle memory and a sense of confidence in my shape than if I'm constantly switching. So I'm just going to enjoy it, and I will be quiet through this part and give you a chance to watch and meditate on what you're seeing, or do your own in silence, or whatever your environment is like, and focus on filling in all of these leaves. Don't forget to breathe, and let negative thoughts bubble. Put them in a bubble and let them float away. distracting thoughts. Okay, sorry, I'll be quiet now. Oh, see, I did the thing I said I wasn't going to do. I drew right outside of the line. I didn't have another square. Ta-da! All right, so I'll just finish this one because it feels weird not to. I feel incomplete. And now I'm going to go back and put those extra little triangles in like this. And they just kind of add a little dimension to it, and they can maybe match up from fragment to fragment, but maybe they don't. Mine don't really, so that's okay. I feel all right with that. There we go. I like that. Doesn't that look pretty? All right, now let's find something else, or think of something else we can do in this next section that will be sort of complementary to that. This has a little bit of a lacy look, I think. Right, it's a floral and it's got this sort of lacy, nice pattern. Maybe we could do something very blocky. Very blocky. Let's see. Something that would go great with blocks. Let's see, this is interesting here, if I colored it all in. So I'm going to do my next set of fragments, and I've decided on my next tangle, and I'll show it to you in the book. I'm adding these fragments here, and I'm kind of trying to go maybe halfway or more around. I like this overlap a little bit. I don't want it to look like half of it's one thing and half of it's another, so I want them to blend a little bit, and it does here. It crosses over there. Okay, so my pattern is this one here, which is these little spikes right out of the corners, 4 corners, little spiky things. So I'm going to start here with spike in the middle and 2 on the sides. And it's not so much the number that matters, just that I get a few out. And so I don't want it to become so crowded I can't get any right there. So oh, look what happens. I love it. The corners match up, right? And you get little spiky sunshines. But you do have to really concentrate on finishing each section before you look into the next pattern, or else you're going to get, maybe even I'll do all one direction and then do all the other direction, because I like my hand at this angle best. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And it's better muscle memory and easier to concentrate on this. There, that's the last one. Now I'll go back to the beginning and I'll do these corners this way. Okay, now where do I need to go? Here. My ink is getting a little clunky again. Okay, back to the beginning. My next corner is this one. Okay, that's it. Alright, so that one's interesting. I mean, I don't love it. I think I'm going to do something in the middle. I can't, it just doesn't look coordinated to me. I think I'm going to put something in the middle, like a big, like 2 circles. A circle and a dot, like that. A circle and a dot. Just needs something in there for me. Yeah, I like this better. Yeah, I like that better. That's cute, isn't it? Alright, my next one, something also a little bit airy or blocky, I think would look nice up against this here. So let's see here. I don't want it to conflict with this or confuse that, right? It's already kind of confusing, so I'm trying to find something that's very clear about what it is, so that you don't get something you're like, wait, which thing is which? This is a nice one. It's just a super awesome spiral. I'm going to try that. I'm looking at it here. I was thinking this spiral was perfect because it's very distinct, and I get so distracted by the other ones. They're all so great. Truth, truth. I really do. Oh, I could do some cute little mukas like that. So many choices, so little time. This is beautiful when you do it on a larger tangle. It's a little too, well, maybe it'll work there. I have room. Okay, maybe I'll do that. It is complex though, but I'm going to try it anyway. Okay, how do I do it? It shows this fragment here, which I think, look, is done like this. I like to write in books. There's a line down them from corner to corner. Then there's a triangle on each side. I'm trying to figure out the order that they did it in, and then they draw it from each corner to the corner of the triangle, like that. You see? That's how that's drawn. That's how we're going to do it. Okay, let's draw first the fragments. We learned that. You see, in this sampler, as I'm doing for you, I'm keeping the squares relatively the same size, just for the purpose of the lesson, I guess, to teach the thing. If I go all the way to over here, then I will overlap all the rest of this one, and then overlap a little bit there. And then I'm going to have to do something to the end. You see well, maybe not the whole thing. Maybe I could do one more tangle to here, and then another one there. We'll see. All right, this one is pretty complex though, so I gotta really concentrate. I'm gonna do it all one direction, because I could alternate them, which would in itself be interesting, but I think for the sake of this process, I'm gonna stick it out, do one way. And you know what, I'm gonna switch pens. That's why I brought 2 pens to the table, because I was concerned that my white pens wouldn't last for the whole tile, and sometimes they don't. I mean, they last, and then I put them, they get clumpy, I put it away, and then I pick it up later and it works again, right? It's not that it's done after one tile, it's just that it gets clumpy. Yeah, see, look how nice and fresh the lines are. So we go like that, and then we go a triangle, and we connect the dots between the corners and of the corners of the triangle, right? That's how I did it. So I'm going to do it again slowly. Go from the top right corner to the bottom left corner of the square that is the fragment. Then draw a triangle following that line as the base of the triangle, and do another triangle following this line as the base of the triangle. See? Then draw lines from the corners of the triangle to the new corners created by dividing it in half. That makes sense, right? Like that. That's how it's done. I'll keep going with it. Down the middle, or not middle really, corner to corner first, then triangles, but don't go all the way to the edges, right? They're inside these spaces, and then connect the corners. There. It's a nice one. It's really cool. Okay. But it has multiple steps, so we have to remember, and all the steps are different. There. Oh, I'm crunched up, concentrating so hard. Just sit up straight. Whoopsie, missed my corner there. Kind of look like spaceships or something to me. I love how they turn into a chain. You see how they sort of turn into a chain when they're put in a long row like that? That's neat looking. That is why we do reticula and fragments. I was thinking about doing some classes on Skillshare and, longer classes, more like a couple of weeks long, and lesson plans and all of that, where it's really planned and thoughtful. And I wonder if that would be of interest to any of my followers, of what those who there are, and also people that aren't necessarily followers but watching now. There we go. Anyway, I've been thinking about that, so I might do that. I'll let you know in a future video if I've started to offer that. That is a cool pattern. I will definitely use that again. I love it. What would be so cool is to do one row this way and one row the other way. It would do a super cool zigzag. In fact, I might use it for the entire border because I think it's so cool. Let me think about that. Nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go with a different pattern for the rest, for around here. Let's go. I'm going to go almost all the way around, but let's see how far I want to go. Yeah, see, I want to go into this next one over here. Even though I'm running out of space around the outside, right? This is just, there we go. So now I want to do a pattern in that space, and it's mostly going to be next to this. So what would look cool up against that is maybe it's time for those spirals. I think it is, because I can adapt them pretty well to this, where it gets narrow here. So I'm going to stick with my Jelly Roll 10 because it's coming out so nicely. And let's see here. Do spirals starting in the center. I just like to do them nice and tight. They look nice when they really fill up this space, and draw those extra corners that make it look like it's spread all the way into the corners. And then go to the next one and do it. I mean, spirals are so satisfying to draw. Oh, it's like all my worries just go away down the drain. And another drain. Maybe that's what we should do. Every time we draw one, think of a worry. And you have as long as it takes to draw the spiral to think about that worry. Or I'm going to try it. Here's mine, my first worry. Alright, that was nice. I got to think about that person and that situation pretty hard. Let me think about my next one. Whoopsie, sorry about that buzz there. I bet it's that person I was thinking about. There. Cool, man. Alright, here we go, next one. Now as I hit that border, I'm going to stop up there and then come out the other side. Right? Pretend that it goes up there. Which, when it gets narrow, happens much more quickly. Okay, that's where I think about my biggest worry, in the smallest space. There we go. There's kind of a sonar look there, huh? There we go. I like that. Okay, now for my last pattern, I'm going to do something, sort of pretty and scrolly that will match that as an external. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off all my fragments here, my last reticula. And I'm going to fill it up with a couple of, this is my 10, yeah. Got my Sakura 10 here still. I'm going to go up like this with a muka, and then over like this with a muka, and up here with one. Right, just fill up that little space right there with a couple of sweet mukas. And then in each case, I'm going to just try to do as close to 3 as I can, but sometimes I can't. And I'll just do a little portion of one, or I might squeeze it in at a different angle, or whatever. They don't have to be the same. Ooh, I went the other direction. That's crazy talk. Super unpredictable. Woohoo. I didn't really mean to. I'll be honest. I think I have to add one here. It's a little there. And keep going till I run out of space. There we go. That's pretty much it. There. That's pretty neat. Now I want to look back at this thing and see if connecting the lines anywhere would make it better or worse. I think it would make it better. I think it'll give it kind of a halaba effect, right? A sort of above and behind. I'm going to try it. Now I might have to start at the beginning of the line instead of starting at the continuation because I'm using a 10 pen and I was using an 8 then. But honestly, this pen is in better shape, I think, than that last one. So first thing I'm doing is just extending all these ones on the bottom, like this one particular angle. I'm doing that one first. And I'm going all the way until it hits a barrier. And then I'm going to pick another one and do the same thing. And this time I'm going to do this one. And I'm going to go all the way until it hits a barrier. Same thing again. Turn it slightly and go all the way. And I think this is going to look super neat. Look at that. It's got, that's my favorite one. I've never done this one before, round, and it really comes out neat. I might be playing with this, so I did a little over and under there. Did you see that? Sometimes I just go a little off track. I can't wait to do it. So, if the pattern is really jumping out at you, just go for it. There's a piece right there that I want to connect, and here's a piece I want to connect. And there's two pieces right there that can connect, sort of connect to each other, but they're a little off. Let's take this one in. Okay, just a couple more in here that need to. I'm going to go ahead and extend them across the middle line. It's like, hold on everybody, I'm crossing the middle line. Hold on. Don't know where this is going. It could end anywhere. You know, not every one of them has to connect to something. It can just disappear into the ether, you know. But doing it like that is kind of neat. Okay. I might see some more where I want to make connecting lines, you know, finish them out. There's another one. There's another one. Let's see, any more? Up one there. That came out pretty cool. Okay, now I want to do some highlighting. So let me find my nifty white pencil. Here it is. I'm using my General's white pencil from my friends at Zendala. And now what's different about working on a black tile than a white tile is that you're going to highlight with the white versus low light like we do on a white tile. We do shadows, whereas on a white tile I think of it as more like a highlight. So I'm going to look at it with kind of blurry eyes and try to find on this tile, where is it closer to me? Where does this vision look like it's coming up? Where do things have already some indication of being three-dimensional or whatever? And so for me, some of them jump off. For instance, right in here, this jumps off. So I'm going to put a little white. These look like springs or spirals that I can highlight the center of. So I'm going to highlight these, color these in with a little white like this. Then the other one that seems to have like an over and under, high-low perspective to me is this part of the curve on these. Like that. So I'm going to go around and highlight the sort of the right part of that curve, as it feels like that's where it goes over the other side. Even on the one that I curved the wrong way, I'm going to curve it on the right just for the sake of continuity of the pattern. Then on this one, I have to really blur my eyes a little bit because it's got so much complexity to it. But for me, the up is here. This is where it comes up. Is where it has this, and this part kind of goes back or something. It's like a little bit of a zigzaggy thing. I don't know. It's all about what you see. So you can highlight wherever you like. And my suggestion to you is that you just be consistent so that it makes sense when you look at it. Now this one I'm going to highlight down the middle because I think it could look kind of tubular with those spiky things on the sides. If I highlight the middle, I might get this impression of it being convex, right? And then this one with these flowers, I'm going to highlight them in the middle here, where the points come together. Oops. Which is not really the right place, since that's not, well, maybe it is. Who knows what right is? Why do I do that? Keep doing it. That's it. Okay, now where is my tortillon? Got a couple of them here that I've been working through. Here's my white one. I like a new fresh one sometimes when I'm working on white. So I'm going to start here and just work that graphite, or not graphite, that white chalk down into each of those little sections. Now I'm just going circular motions in the center of those things. Let me go back over here before I start that other one. Okay, and then right down this middle section. And you know what would be nice is to do this, smudge it back and forth rather than just along its own line. This gives it more of that feeling that it kind of wraps around. I don't know if this will work in the way I imagined it, but I think it kind of does. I don't know, it's interesting to look at. And then these, oops, I forgot one here. There. Are gonna get this kind of love. Cool. Now this little part here is a little hard to highlight. And maybe I should have thought about that before I did this design, but I'm going to do it in the corner where the mucas jump out of in each place. On each one, sort of like they're growing out of this spot. And even that one that I did the wrong way. Okay. And I'll push the chalk up into the mucas a little bit, just to give them a little bit of a texture. There, that's neat. And now these, I think, what should I do with them? I mean, I just have to kind of highlight a few key ones, I think. I'll just choose some and highlight them. They're not, you know, there's no rhyme or reason to which ones I'm choosing. I'm just trying to mix them up. So there's that. When you do a design kind of like this on, you know, on white tiles, it's a totally different process, like I said, of shading. You can also shade with white, use it like it is graphite, but I don't know, I just thought this time I would focus on highlighting rather than low lighting. There it is. Wow. Well, so what we covered here was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different fragment patterns, and we did them in a spiral, each one in a long series, making it a reticula, and that is what we did, and I think it looks fantastic. I hope you enjoyed this this video and this lesson, and if you'd like to see more like this, please comment, like, and subscribe. I really appreciate your support. And I'll be signing this one next. I'll hide my little signature in there and on the back as well. And then as I'm starting to do now with all the videos from this tile will be for sale in my Etsy shop under Meg Steele Creates. So please visit me there if you want to get your hands on it for your very own. You certainly can. And I so enjoyed doing this with you today. Have a really fantastic day and take good care of yourself. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.